Hey, hello. This is Dennis Young. This is podcast number 3. I'm glad you joined the channel. And please subscribe because I have a lot more interviews coming up. So, my guest today, a special guest, is Mark Cunningham, all the way from Barcelona, Spain. And he's going to talk about his days in New York and what it was like to experience what was happening. And then we'll talk about some of his current projects. So, Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, first, we'll start off with what your background was in music, how you got started, how you ended up in New York.
Well, that's a long story,
I'm sure.
and a long time ago. Um, I started playing music when I was a kid in the school band, playing trumpet, and but that then we could skip to I bought a guitar when I was 16,
Okay.
and kind of learned that by myself, basic just to play in kind of garage bands stuff, which were my first bands, but we never basically got out of the garage. Then, Schemer, excuse me, my cat is
That's
going
all right.
nuts.
That's all right. I have a cat also. Trying to keep her under control.
Okay, so then we could skip to college. When I went to college down in Florida, in St. Pete, and it was quite a progressive, quite hippie place. This was 1970. The first day I was there, I met Ardo, who had just come from Ardo Lindsay, who had just come from
How about that?
Brazil to study in the States, and
Wow.
so and then we became roommates, and that's when I started really like opening up to improvisation and stuff, because it was a real, kind of free jazz. We were listening to free jazz and well, Velvet Underground and all this other stuff, but in this circle of friends we had there, we used to have a lot of jams, very, very free jams. This was early 70s now. And in 74, Arno and I, and Connie Berg and a couple other people, we all moved up to the city. I'm originally from Tenafly, New Jersey. So
How about that?
um, I I had always wanted to live in the city. I didn't really have any other plans. And so it was kind of perfect that um, everybody there wanted to join me.
Oh, it's great.
And so, hit the city in 74, and, right at the beginning of the CBGB scene, the Patti Smith story, the Ramones, television, Talking Heads,
Wow. You saw a
all this
lot.
stuff. Um, and we were at a lot of the first shows of
How
those.
about
And
that? Wow.
at the same time, it was also this very, very active loft jazz scene and loft minimalist scene, basically with Phil Glass and Charlemagne Palestine and people like that doing, also with their own lofts, doing things. So it was clear. Actually, I studied theater
That's
at
I didn't
college, not music. Um, but it was clear that music is what was happening, and that's when we started wanting to start
I didn't
bands.
realize you were so much in the early scene there, especially Ardo Lindsay with DNA and all this incredible music that he was doing.
Yeah,
And then,
well, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that was
we got there 74, and we were kind of exploring things together. And um, Mars started up in early 76.
hmm,
That was my band, and Ardo at first wanted to play drums with us, and because we needed a drummer, but it was pretty clear that he needed to start his own band, and and do his own thing. And so DNA actually started later on,
How
not
about
long
that?
though. All this happened in what seemed like a long time then, but seems like a super short time now.
Yeah, it
Because
does. Time flies by, especially when you
yeah,
get
yeah,
older.
yeah, exactly. So then it was really stretched out. I mean, we started Mars in early '76, but we spent almost a year just jamming and stuff in Sumner and Nancy's loft in Lower Broadway, and these were the original Mars members, and um, then we started playing out at CBG. Was in early '77,
Wow. Was
and yeah,
was
question.
was Max's? What did do Max's Kansas City also? That was another.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We were alternating. Back then, because I was thinking about this today. Because I wanted to prepare a little bit for this interview, and um, the '70s was a little different from the '80s because um, in terms of underground clubs, there wasn't so much.
Hmm.
I mean, for the band scene, I mean, of course, there were the separate scenes, the loft jazz, etc., and a Soho scene, which I didn't really participate in because there was this kind of separation. And so I was in the East Village. We were in the East Village, all of us. And so we were basically alternating between CBGBs and Maxes,
Oh, okay.
with a couple of exceptions, and alternating like um, a month by month, a gig here, 2 weeks later a gig there, 3 weeks later a gig there, basically alternating with few exceptions. I mean, we played
Hmm.
later on. We played Irving Plaza, but in the beginning it was those two, and maybe there was a place called Mothers. I think we played once. Copperfields we played once. A couple of places where we played, but one-offs basically. The rest was alternation in those two places. All the other spaces that you're probably more familiar with that were in the started up in late '70s, early '80s were this was like a explosion
Hmm.
compared to what we had in the '70s.
Sounds it, because when we played in the early '80s, already there were, Danceteria, uh, Peppermint Lounge, Mud Club. There was
Right.
many more places
Garage,
to
Tin Pan
play.
Alley,
Right.
all
Exactly.
these little spaces like 8BC, Tier 3,
Right. Right.
Club 57. I mean, there were a ton of places in the '80s.
Exactly. So after that, how did you end up meeting Sal and getting in Fist of Facts?
Well, that that's a jump, really. What I started after Mars, because Mars we split up in early '79, and
Okay.
um, but in '80 we did another project together, which was John Gavanti, which was an album, and then soon after that we started Don King, which was
Okay.
basically an improv band with songs, kind of songs, instrumental. I started playing trumpet again because I'd been playing bass and guitar in Mars, and I started playing horns again and keeping up with bass as well. Connie was also in Mars, um, continued, but playing, alternating between bass clarinet and guitar. And Duncan Lindsay, Arto's brother, was playing drums.
Oh, okay.
And then Arto and um, Tony Nogueira, who's a Brazilian percussionist living there, Arto and him joined us to form a kind of Brazilian percussion unit with
Oh,
Duncan.
oh,
So
okay.
that's what Don King became, kind of this kind of freaky, no wave improv Brazilian percussion
Very interesting.
band,
Did you record music? Did you record a
Yeah,
record?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had an album
I have to
out
look
in
into that.
'84. We had a cassette out with the trio originally in '82, and then an album in '84.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then, but we played around a lot, and we were playing all those places that we just mentioned, and also others, Plug, Chandeliers, a lot. We were playing around a lot. Squat Theater. We were
Okay.
doing there were these overnight things at Squat Theater we used to do.
Oh, I remember that place.
Yeah, yeah, that place is great.
It was.
So then, just continuing, going through it, Don King went through a couple more formations. We went down to a duo, then up to a quartet again with some other people. Then that fizzled out basically in '86, '87. Okay, that's when I knew Sal. Well, I don't know when I met Sal exactly, but that was when Fist of Facts was starting up, and he invited me to join them when they were rehearsing down in the basement there on, or was it Ludlow or one of those?
Right.
Um, and that was basically for a little while my only band that I was active in. But I was also doing improv things because all those '80s was also this whole free improv scene,
Right.
which was less band centered, and they weren't. We Don King was going on through most of that, but mostly it was people, like Zorn, Mark Miller, all these people who were Arto too, who were, individuals working together in different duos, trios, etc., or solos. And there were a lot of spaces just for that, like John Zorn's
I was mentioning it.
space
Right.
this on Avenue A, the Saint, um, the Knitting Factory, of course.
Of course.
Um, Mark Miller had a place on Morton Street. There was places just for that. Roulette. There were a lot of places that were focused on that, and that was very important scene. Also in my musical formation, I think that was very
Yeah.
important for me.
John Zorn played on one of our second record. He played
Oh yeah.
clarinet. He played clarinet
Oh,
on the last song, I Sharp.
I, I
So
don't
that was
remember
like a
that.
fun thing to have him come in and do that clarinet part. It
Right.
added a real sparkle to the song.
Yeah, I
It was
bet.
really this mellow little thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's something. Hal, what I didn't realize you were part of this whole scene even in the '70s when really punk was really starting and improv. I
Yeah,
guess in the
exactly.
city.
It was like No Wave somehow is considered post-punk, but it's not really true because we were right there in the same scene as the New York punk bands, and
Right.
at the same time that the English bands were coming up. So I don't doesn't really work that the later ones, yes, you could say maybe, but the ones that came up, because a lot of bands started up in '80, '81, Sonic Youth, Rat R,
Yep. That's right.
Swans, all those bands. But yeah, but
That's
like I
when
say, it all happened like one thing after another.
Yeah, that's what happened with us. Like 81, 82 were like the real, and 83 were the 2 years that we really, took off and had a lot of shows and
Right.
all these clubs, and everybody was going out
Hmm.
and going to going to clubs, hearing music, and it
Right.
was just so much going on. It was amazing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Exactly.
rhythm was a big thing too. There was only
Yes,
so many bands interested in trying new instruments with rhythm.
exactly.
And that's what happened. So with
Exactly.
Sal, you record. You How long did you play with the Fist of Facts?
I guess it was about 2 years,
Oh, okay,
something like that. Because I was coming and going too from Europe at that point.
okay,
I had discovered Barcelona in '86 on tour with Don King, um,
okay.
and I really liked it. It was luckily it was the last gig on the tour, and I stayed um, and and hung out there for a few weeks, playing with local musicians
How about that?
who were also, it was a very improv scene, playing in little clubs. There was a buzz about Barcelona that was similar to New York in the 70s. Of
Oh,
course, it was a
about that.
much smaller place, but it was a real 24-hour scene. I mean, uh, it was really wild,
I
Barcelona in the 80s.
imagine. I can just imagine.
And so I was coming and going, and I kind of, when I was in New York, I would gig with them, and then I think the final gigs I did it with them, we did in Barcelona and Switzerland.
How about that? Didn't
Yeah,
know that.
and that was just Ken, me, and Sal
Hmm.
and Scotty. I don't remember if Scotty came or not. Wait, what about Scotty? Where is he?
Oh, well, he's up in upstate New York now, and I don't think he's doing much music. I don't know. It's just kind of vanished after the last gig we did at Madison Square Garden with LCD back in 2011.
Uh,
And after that, I've heard from him very infrequently. So
yeah.
he's up there in Sarasota. I guess he just
I have to
plays with local
try to
bands.
track him down just to say hello. It was really
No?
fun playing with him, and when he was in Fistifax as well.
Well, he was a fantastic drummer.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
very, very lucky to have him. I played with him with the Idiot Orchestra before Liquid Liquid.
Uh huh.
So we did
Yeah,
these. There was like a 12-piece band, and we did the Mud Club. And I don't know if you know Bruce Tovsky.
yeah.
Bruce was in the band. Ken was in
Oh
the
yeah.
band.
Yeah,
Uh,
I never saw that formation. I heard about it from them afterwards,
it was wild.
but yeah, I
In
never
fact, we
saw it.
put out a little 7-inch disc from the show, from those shows put together, and then we reissued it on Superior Viaduct 4 years ago.
Uh huh.
One
Uh huh.
side is the Idiot Orchestra. That was a fun experience because we were playing the Mud Club and a couple other unique places, and people didn't know what to make of it. It was really out there.
Yeah, yeah. I bet. Nice.
So I was very fortunate to get involved with that. I met Richard at college, so that's how I got involved with
Right.
the New York scene, and
Hmm.
we were very lucky. We met Ed Bauman at 99 Records, and
Right.
he had connections to the clubs, and we were very unique from the start.
Hmm.
Sal had that very unique voice,
Yeah.
and it just kind of clicked.
Yeah. Well, that's how things used to happen down there.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And we were getting a lot of shows because of Ed. And Ed's brother worked at Haraz as a DJ,
Uh huh. Uh
and
huh.
then he also worked at Danceteria.
Hmm.
And I'm still in touch with Bill Ballman. He
Oh
still
yeah.
lives in the city, and he's doing good. Ed, I
Where are
don't know
you?
what happened to.
Yeah, I don't either. Where are you now?
I'm in Central New Jersey.
Ah.
So I'm still doing music. I have a little studio here where I do
Hmm.
independent projects, and
Uh.
so I just started this here. I thought would be a nice thing to talk to everybody from that era.
Yeah.
And I have Ken coming up. He's going to be on, and
Ah.
a
Cool.
couple other people coming up. So it's been great that everybody's volunteered to do this. And I think everybody out there wants to hear about this period because it was so unique.
Sure.
And I had Al Diaz on last week.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, it was nice to talk to Al.
Uh.
He's has some stories, and
I bet.
he's he's kind of busy now with his art career.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
kind of taken off. So, what are you currently working on? Maybe we could go over
Well,
that a little
a
bit.
lot of things. I mean, I've been active here since I finally moved here in '91, and I've had one band after another here, along
Wow,
with a lot of collaborations. I've had like 5 bands: Rayo,
wow,
Bestia Ferida, Convolution. Um, well, band I've had the longest, which I'm still in, is called Blood Quartet.
Okay.
Blood Quartet, and we've done 3 albums.
Wow.
We've done a lot of gigs around, especially, around Europe, not so much in the north, but France, Switzerland, Italy, and a lot around Spain, north of Spain, particularly.
Do you do a lot of shows? I mean, is that how you make
Yeah,
a living?
we do a lot of shows, but I also do a lot of improvisation stuff. A lot. I mean,
Okay.
I have like right now I have 5 other, not exactly bands, but groups. I mean, projects.
Wow.
I
Fantastic.
have 3 duos, 2 trios,
Oh my
and a
gosh.
quartet. And a quartet.
That's
Apart
great.
from my solo career, which I also do solo, and I've had 2
Wow.
solo albums out in the past few years, and I'm on an Italian label. I go around Italy a lot, France. I'm really more active than I've ever been.
That's great.
I'm going to be 72 next
Oh,
week.
fantastic. Yeah,
You
well, I'm
know,
still active myself. Not much luck with independent labels, but I decided I'm just going to put out everything myself on Bandcamp and
yeah,
let it be. But because the labels
yeah,
just seem there's no money with that, and it's very hard unless
no,
you're touring. I don't know. That's the only way it
yeah.
seems
It's
to
the
make money.
only way to sell. Only way to sell is records now is on tour, basically, unless you have a label that is has good distribution for what you are selling.
Now, are you?
Um,
Is your music accessible? You're able to get it? Because I want to
yeah.
definitely mention that your label and how to get your music.
Well, the easiest way to get me too is through Bandcamp.
Okay.
My own Bandcamp is Mark Cunningham 1
Okay.
.bandcamp. I also have a website, markcunningham.cat. Um, and my Instagram is easy to find. So all these things you can find. Blood Quartet you can also
Okay.
easily find also my stuff as well as Blood Quartet. We're all in Spotify and Tidal and all the music platforms. It's
Okay.
really quite easy to find me just by name
Great.
if you
Yeah,
know more or less what you're looking for. So
that's great. 'Cause
um,
I really want to promote your stuff too, so it gets out there so people can hear it.
yeah, that's great.
Especially if you're in
Thanks.
the improv, if you love improv music, uh, you definitely want to find your music for sure.
Yeah, and you asked about accessible. I mean, Blood Quartet is more of a rock band than anything else.
Oh,
We're
okay.
more than Mars was. We're kind of a kind of a deep roots 60s rock band, but not the typical at all. We do a lot of improvisation as well.
Okay.
We have a fantastic guitarist, bass player, drummer. I mean, I alternate between guitar and trumpet. You should check it out because it's really interesting.
I'm gonna.
Um, and it's accessible. Every time we play live, it's not easy for us to get into circuits because it's we're just as usual not in a category, you know,
Yeah, it makes it hard.
between rock, free jazz, improv, ambient, you know, and but I'm used to this, so
Well, there's
I don't
so much.
worry. But when we actually play, it doesn't matter where we're playing or for who. We go over really well,
That's good. Well,
So I would say yes, it's definitely accessible.
I'm gonna
And my
definitely
own
check it
stuff,
out.
I think too. My own stuff is more experimental, but I've always been into melody. So there you go.
That's fantastic. It's fantastic you're still doing it and still making music. That's really great. It really is great, and it's great
Yeah, I
you.
don't think that's
It's
what I
great.
do.
It's great you came on this podcast here. So, anything else you want to say before we take part of here?
Uh, No, not really.
Okay.
Anybody coming by Barcelona can look me up.
Yeah, we were
Um,
lucky. We played there. We were lucky that Primavera Festival
I
was
remember.
was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Probably one of our best shows, I think, of all time. I think even
Uh-huh. Oh,
because it was
yeah.
part of the whole reunion era for the band,
Right.
and it was
Right.
exciting.
Yeah.
They still have that every year, right?
Oh, yeah. But they're way too big now.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, when you guys played there, for me, it was the last years that Primavera was a festival that I could go to.
I see.
Now I wouldn't dare, and it's not even. I mean, there's still a lot of great bands, but they're not well favored musically because it's gotten too big. There's you really to go from stage to stage is like a battle.
Oh,
There's a lot of noise interference between stages. I don't recommend it for
that's too
kids who want
bad.
to just drink and see bands, whatever. It's okay, but not
Yeah,
for our age.
that's too bad because what was really nice about that festival, the hotel was right there where all
Right?
the bands
Yeah,
were,
yeah, sure.
right by the festival, so you could walk
Yeah, yeah,
there and meet everybody. But that's a shame. We have a
yeah.
video
It's.
of it of
Mm-hmm.
Optimo. That's pretty
Oh yeah.
exciting to watch.
Uh,
If you get a chance, take a look at it because Sal really was great as leading everybody, but it was exciting.
I remember especially Sal from that gig. Uh, he had super energy. I mean,
Oh
the
yeah,
band did, but of course, come on, since he was out front,
yep.
he was really laying it down,
Oh yeah,
on the
he really
congas there or
was.
whatever, bongos, whatever. Like,
Yeah, he's still playing. He's in this. He's in
yeah,
178 product now. I've seen him a
right.
couple times in the city. He's got a residency at a club, so he
Uh-huh.
brings different artists in
Nice.
to play with him, and so
Yeah.
yeah, he's doing good. He's the only one I really keep in touch with from the
Yeah, me too.
band.
I mean, I see him, we're not in close touch, but I mean, we follow each other on Instagram and we say hello from time to time, especially when there's something, like the reissues of Distant Facts and stuff like that.
Right. I hope to have
But
him on here also, talk about everything. So that'll
yeah,
be fun.
cool.
Fun to speak to him. So, Mark, it's been a pleasure, and
For me
I'm
too.
glad you found where to find your music. And I'm going to check it out after uh, this is over, and then we could keep in touch on Facebook.
Great.
Great talking to you, and
Okay, Dennis.
everybody
Thanks.
out
Thanks
there.
a lot. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Take care
Yeah.
now. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye
Bye.
bye.